Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a really fun theme team in the Great League, the Ancient Egyptian theme team. This team features Lucario on the lead, which is of course based on the Egyptian god Anubis, Drapion on the save switch, which is a scorpion, and Cofagrigus in the back, which is based on a mummy sarcophagus. This isn't a team I would necessarily recommend for climbing rank, but I was able to have some really fun games with it. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out the Ancient Egyptian theme team in action in the Great League. Picking up a terrible lead in the first match, Lucario into Azumarill. I'll save switch into my softer counter of Cofagrigus, but then I am immediately hard punished by a Lickitung. Things off to a terrible start in game 1. Going for the Psychic, I'm able to get the defense drop, but unfortunately that does not flip this matchup. Lickitung, after they land a Power Whip, is still able to tank a Psychic despite the debuff and fully commit to the farm down. I'm going for Psychic number 2, hoping that maybe they shield, but they know better. They hold on to their energy and they farm down. At this point, I'm recognizing that Drapion with energy is probably my only hope for winning the match. So I tank the move on Lucario, bring in Drapion and Poison Sting down. So now we have Drapion with an energy lead, which can be incredibly deadly, and my opponent's final Pokemon is Greedent. So we may have a chance here, because Greedent doesn't have a great matchup overall against Drapion. They're very spammy, but of course they're doing basically no fast move damage with their Bullet Seeds. I build it to the Sludge Bomb, going for the Crunch bait, hoping for the shield, but my opponent calls it. That is a little unfortunate, as this is still not in a range where I can Poison Sting down. I will start committing shields, and I notice that my switch timer is coming up soon. So if I can get a shield, I'm going to try and snipe with Lucario. We're able to snipe, and down goes Greedent. Back in comes Azumarill. Lucario is going to spam out as many charge moves as possible here, going for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball able to connect, and now we're trying to get to a second Shadow Ball. The Azumarill does not want that to happen, and they throw their energy. Ice Beam will take out Lucario, but now back in comes Drapion, and we've seen how spammy Drapion is. I will go for the Crunch. Even if they decide to call it, which they do, this will be Poison Sting farm down range for Drapion. We do commit the final shield on the Ice Beam. Drapion able to farm down, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Lucario into Shadow Nidoqueen. This is a pretty decent lead for Lucario. We get to our nuke charge moves at the same time, but Lucario is of course going to win CMP. I decide to go for the Power Up Punch bait, and it pays off as I'm able to get a shield. Earth Power will of course one-shot, so I do respect it, but I do get Poison Fanged. My opponent able to bait in return. I'm going to farm up to the Shadow Ball and go for a second bait. If they shield this, a third Power Up Punch should KO, but my opponent calls the bait. That is not good. I will respect the Earth Power, but they bait me again, and they're going to be able to reach a third Poison Fang before I'm able to counter down. Lucario does survive this, but not super well. We are very close to a Shadow Ball, and we're double boosted. So whatever comes in, we should be able to do a nice amount of damage to. It is Azumarill, and I'm going for the Shadow Ball. This will do big damage if it lands, which it does, and down goes Lucario. I'm going to bring in Drapion, and Drapion should be able to CMP tie on the Play Rough, so if they want to get off this energy, they will have to commit the shield. Sludge Bomb takes down Azumarill, and it is Sableye in the back. Sableye doesn't have the greatest matchup ever against Drapion, but with the shield advantage, Sableye may be able to put in work. I'm farming up quite a bit. We go for the catch, and we get it! We are able to catch the return onto Cofagrigus, and at this point, this game is over. Sableye farming up as much as they can, but they are not going to be able to overcome that catch. Cofagrigus taking down the Sableye, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Lucario into, you guessed it, another Shadow Nidoqueen. Same plan as last time, I'm going to farm up to the Shadow Ball and go for the Power Up Punch bait. Shadow Nidoqueens love to shield, and we're able to get a shield back. Last time I was baited, so you know what? I'm going to call the bait, but this time they Earth Power. I am making all the wrong shield calls today. I bring in Cofagrigus, and my opponent is going to pivot into Shadow Politoed. Going for the Shadow Ball. That does big damage onto the Politoed, but Politoed is going to be able to reach back-to-back Weather Balls. I do respect the bigger move in case they throw it, but they opt to go for the double weather ball just so they can get some chip damage off on the Cofagrigus. Cofagrigus is able to farm down, and the question is, what is that final Pokemon? And it is Galarian Stunfisk. So this is a big problem, as Cofagrigus should be in Rock Slide range here, so they can farm up quite a bit and throw a move before I reach a second Shadow Ball. I'm hoping somehow I survive this. I definitely do not. And now I bring in Drapion. This is enough for an Earthquake. I will respect it, and it is the Earthquake. Back in comes Shadow Nidoqueen. At this point, I just have to hope that a Crunch is going to be enough to KO. It's not. Can we poison this thing down on Nidoqueen? We cannot. And unfortunately, Drapion taken out by the Earth Power, and that is a good game. Picking up a slightly negative lead in the next match, Lucario into Skarmory. Skarmory is definitely a problem spot for this team, as Drapion doesn't have a great matchup against it either, so I am going to stay in with Lucario and try and take care of this Skarmory. I will shield up the Sky Attack and then go for the Power Up Punch bait, really hoping that I can get the shield, but my opponent calls it, and now this is not an ideal situation to be in. I decided to go for the Shadow Ball since a pup would not KO here, and we're able to take them out. Opponent brings in Defense Deoxys. I pivot into Drapion, but I was slow on my swap, allowing 2 counters to register on my Lucario, and basically, all my Lucario is good for now is a potential sack swap in the endgame. I do get the Crunch debuff, which is quite nice, and then I get hit with the Rock Slide. With that debuff, this second Crunch will almost KO the Defense Deoxys if they decide to let it through, which they do, and it ends up being a CMP tie. I'm going to save the shield for Coffin in the back. We bring in Cofagrigus, and we're able to farm down, and they have Sableye in the back. This is a bad matchup for Cofagrigus, but with an energy lead, we may be able to flip this. Going for the Shadow Ball, and we get the shield. Sableye farming up, and we're able to get a Shadow Claw through. That is massive. I believe we can now outpace them to a Shadow Ball. Yes, we can! Cofagrigus able to reach the Shadow Ball taking down the Sableye, and that is a good game. Picking up a fantastic lead in the next match, Lucario into Lickitung. Opponent immediately save switches into Azumarill, and we have a fantastic response in Drapion. Drapion is just so spammy that we are able to completely dominate this matchup versus Azumarill. They go for the Play Rough, we tank that no problem, and now I'm gonna fire back with the Sludge Bomb. From here, I can very safely overfarm, and I'm going to throw a Sludge Bomb on what should be CMP tied to their next charge move. So if they want to get off energy, they have to shield, and they decide against it. Back in comes Lickitung, but this is going to be a very rough lick farm down, as we are resisting it, and Drapion is exceedingly spammy. Drapion is able to reach a second move. This Sludge Bomb will be doing significant damage onto the Lickitung. Lickitung not able to farm down, and they're forced to burn some energy. I am going to be bringing back in Lucario here. They bring in the final Mon, and it is Registeel. The opponent was ABA weak to counter, and now Lucario gets to absolutely feast. We are just going to spam out these power-up punches. I don't care what they throw. We are shielding whatever it is. That is totally fine by us. From here, Lucario able to farm all the way down. Back in comes the Lickitung. And I don't have to shield a thing here. Lucario farming down, and that is a good game. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Lucario into Galarian Stunfisk. Opponent save switches into Mandibuzz, and this is a bit awkward. Honestly, I don't have a great response to Mandibuzz with this team, so I am going to stay in with Lucario and go for the power-up punch. We do tank an Aerial Ace. It will do a lot of damage as Lucario is pretty glassy. I'm going to farm up and catch on to my Drapion. This way I've saved some energy on Lucario, and hopefully Drapion is going to be able to put in a lot of work now that I have chipped the Mandibuzz quite a bit. Drapion going for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb does get that Mandibuzz quite low. Now the question is, can I poison this thing down from this range? It'll be very ambitious. but I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to Poison Sting down, because if I can do that, I'm going to leave with a ton of energy to threaten whatever they decide to bring in. Going for the farm down, they try and snipe with G-Fisk, but I'm able to go for the Crunch. Crunch does a nice chunk of damage, able to reach a second Crunch as well, and this will get that Galarian Stunfisk very low. We do have the Power-Up Punch loaded on Lucario. We are going for the Power-Up Punch straight away. Power-Up Punch, plus a counter, taking down Galarian Stunfisk, but they have Wigglytuff in the back, and suddenly, this game is over. Cofagrigus gets absolutely destroyed by Wigglytuff in the 2-shield. I am hoping that I'm going to be able to reach 3 Psychics, but as you're going to see, there's just no chance, and I concede the match. Hopping to the next match, swinging Lucario into another Nidoqueen. This time, this is the regular non-Shadow Nidoqueen, so I'm actually going to adjust my strategy a bit. Non-Shadow Nidoqueens tend to shield a bit less, so I go straight for the Shadow Ball, and we're able to land it. The fact that they no-shielded makes me think they're going for the Earth Power, so I commit the shield, and we're able to get it. Opponent save switches into Trevenant, and we have a Trevenant killer in back in Drapion. Drapion absolutely crushes Trevenant in this matchup. Crunch, almost enough to KO, and we can tank the Shadow Ball and farm down. Shadow Ball does a decent amount of damage for a resisted move, but we're able to leave with energy, and their final Pokemon in the back is Scrafty. I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb just to guarantee a shield, and we do get the shield from Scrafty. Scrafty counters down, and now I am in a bit of a tough spot. Cofagrigus really does not like to go up against Dark types, especially Scrafty. They go for the Foul Play, and I'm going to fire back with the Psychic. Here, I'm honestly just hoping for a defense drop. Psychic is able to land, but no defense drop. I'm going to let this through. No matter what, I'm not going to shield here. Only ends up being a Power-Up Punch, and I'm just going to keep farming. Opponent tries to catch, they switch early, and we're able to farm them down, and now we suddenly have life. Going for the Psychic against the Scrafty. This should be getting the shield. Back in comes Lucario, and we should be at a Power-Up Punch. All I have to do is shield here, under tap, and this Power-Up Punch should be taking care of the Scrafty. 2-shield Scrafty, very scary in the back, but that is a good game. Picking up a terrible lead in the next match, Lucario into Trevenant. I will immediately save switch into Cofagrigus. Trevenant is staying in, so I'm going straight for the Shadow Ball, but my opponent makes a nice catch, catching the Shadow Ball onto Walrein. Thankfully, that still does a massive amount of damage to Walrein. Walrein will go for the Icicle Spear, but that is not enough to take out Cofagrigus. Cofagrigus tanks the Icicle Spear, and I'm able to reach a second move. I'm expecting a shield, so I go for the Psychic in case I get a defense drop. We do get the shield, but we do not get the defense drop. Walrein should be short of an Earthquake here, so I am going to bring in Lucario to soak the energy, and then I have to hope that Drapion with the shield advantage will be able to farm down. I am spamming the switch button, waiting for Trevenant. Back in comes Trevenant, and I bring in Drapion. Trevenant is actually staying in here, so hopefully that means they are weak in the back. I tank the Shadow Ball, farm by 1, and I lose CMP. My greed in going for an extra Poison Sting cost me a shield, and that is a big mistake. Thankfully, Crunch will grab the final shield or KO here. They do commit the final shield, and suddenly I'm thinking they might be weak in the back. And they are. They have a Azumarill in the back. I held on to my energy, and now we are absolutely loaded. Sludge Bomb, big damage onto Azumarill, and I'm going for Sludge Bomb number 2. This will get the KO. Now the question is, can Trevenant farm us down? This is going to be close. They cannot. Drapion going absolutely beast mode, taking out the Trevenant, and that is a good game. Hopping to the final match, picking up a terrible lead, Lucario into Defense Deoxys. I'll immediately save switch into Drapion, and my opponent responds with Shadow Drapion. It is incredible that we were able to bait out the Shadow Drapion. My Cofagrigus in the back has absolutely no play against it. So hopefully now that we've seen it here, Cofagrigus will have a lot of play in the endgame. They go for the Crunch, and they do get the defense drop. That is quite unfortunate. I'm going to fire back with a Crunch of my own. I don't get the defense drop, but my opponent overfarms, and they lose CMP. That is fantastic. We should be able to force a shield here. And at this point, I'm just going to take shield advantage. With Drapion out of the way and a shield advantage, Cofagrigus should be able to put in a ton of work in the endgame. Lucario farms down. Back in comes Defense Deoxys, and now it is Cofagrigus time. And if you've noticed, this Defense Deoxys is not switching out. They go for the Psycho Boost, we tank that no problem, and they bring in their final Pokemon, which is Shadow Walrein. Shadow Ball, big damage onto Walrein, and honestly, I'm just gonna double shield and commit to the farm down. That way, I'm going to force the Defense Deoxys to throw energy on Cofagrigus because they're not going to be able to counter down. So I will shield up both Icicle Spears, and after I farm down, I'm going to leave with quite a lot of energy here. Back in comes Defense Deoxys, and I'm going straight for the Shadow Ball. We still have a very healthy Lucario as well. Shadow Ball does get the shield. Defense Deoxys, not going to be able to farm down. Cofagrigus, able to reach the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball vanquishing Defense Deoxys, and that is a good game. All in all, I had a ton of fun running the Ancient Egyptian theme team. As I mentioned, it's not necessarily a team I'd recommend if you're looking to climb the rank, but it was a lot of fun to use, and I enjoyed getting to research a bit more about ancient Egypt along the way. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.